Dear colleague, welcome. It's Dr. Jack. Thanks for joining me today. Today I'm talking about flourishing versus facing burnout. And I'm going to take you through 3 thought exercises to help us understand how to flourish. So first, I'd like you to think about 2 people. Start off, pick someone in your life who goes through life very successfully, but not only are they successful, they just seem at ease, relaxed. You know, there's a kind of like, they have bright eyes, they kind of have this kind of half smile on their face. They really don't seem stressed out. So who in your life is most like that? Maybe you don't have a perfect example, but who is most like that? Is it a family member, a friend? And best if it's a colleague, someone at work who faces many of the same situations you do, but just seems to like kind of float through the day quite easily. Now, I want you to think of the opposite type of person, someone from your life who is really stressed. Like you could just see the way that they walk, like they have the weight of the world on their shoulders. When they don't see you looking at them, their face is downcast. It seems like they're worrying, like they're desperate somehow. You know, if they see you looking at them, then maybe they try to smile a little bit, but it's not very convincing. So now let's think about these 2 individuals, the 2 opposite ends. What makes them different? Why is one person flourishing and the other person really under a great deal of stress? Well, certainly it could be their personality differences. It could be that one person, the one who's burdened, maybe he or she is facing, you know, a serious medical illness, or maybe they're having trouble with their kid, or maybe their parent just got diagnosed with Alzheimer's. All kinds of different things. Maybe they're going through a process of a messy divorce. So of course there are many reasons that 2 individuals could differ. But I think one reason is that one person may be more aligned in what they do compared to their personality, while the other person every day is kind of like running a gauntlet where things are difficult, where there's a bad alignment between who they are and what they have to do every day. So now let me take you through thought exercise number 2. So wherever you are as you're listening to me, in your here and now, imagine before you, stretching before you, is a space. It's a 4-dimensional space of space and time, kind of stretching out before you. And as you go further in time, the further out it goes. It's like a 4-dimensional cone, right? And it's the space of possibility. So now imagine that you are able to choose a path through this space of possibility, right? There are many paths. A lot of the paths are chosen for us. If something bad happens, if we get diagnosed with an illness, we didn't choose those things. So many paths we end up on not of our own choosing. But clearly, we do have agency and we do choose. So imagine in the space of possibility, all of these almost infinite number of paths moving from now, your here and now, into the future, moment by moment in your life. Okay? Now, thought exercise number 3. Think about your personality, and I want you to think about it in a different way. We normally think about personality as a series of traits that are inherent to us. You know, like the color of my eyes or the color of my hair or how tall I am or whatever. They're these personality traits, right? They impact the way that we respond emotionally to events, are kind of like the temperature of our ongoing mood. It affects our cognitions and our beliefs. It affects the way we behave, including our relationships with other people. So now imagine that personality is really more like the way you move through the world. So yes, you have these traits, personality traits. That's a good way of thinking about it. But now add this other kind of aspect to it, that your personality helps guide you through different paths in your space of possibility. Now imagine, because of your personality traits, certain paths are going to be a lot more like congruent with who you are. You're just going to seem to float through them. They're easy. They're meaningful. that you get a sense of purpose, and you don't seem stressed out. In fact, when you face challenges along these certain paths, you may see it as a great adventure, like, oh wow, look, I could learn something new. Now imagine you're on a path that is really just opposite to the way your personality traits are. Everything becomes difficult. It's like running a gauntlet. And I think, therefore, the consequence of my 3 thought exercises is how does each of us choose a path going forward in our life which is going to be most congruent, obviously with our values, but also with the way that we are. Certain paths are going to be easier, more less stressful, more relaxing, at ease, where we can really be present in the moment and engaged and actually feeling empowered, right? And it's very particular. So, for example, I'm a more introverted person than extroverted, not extreme, but probably 70% introvert. And if I'm around people too long, too many people, too many interactions, I just get tired, and then I have to escape. I either cocoon at home, reading a book, or I go hiking all by myself, right? I have a melancholic kind of a temperament, but actually I'm quite happy with life because I feel my life is so aligned that the path that I am on, in terms of my career, kind of life direction, it's very meaningful to me. In fact, shooting this video for you is very meaningful to me. So no matter how melancholic I may be, I still have this foundation of satisfaction and kind of meaning, like a solid feeling that sustains me through my different challenges. Now, some of these, the ways that we are in life, whether they're personality traits or even some other traits, can be very, very particular. So my wife and I often joke about our attitudes towards open doors and windows. So I like closed doors and open windows, right? So when I'm like sitting in our bedroom in the evening, let's say, with my book, I like to keep the door closed. Somehow I feel more cocooned, I feel safer, more comfortable. But I like to have my window open because I like the smell of the fresh air. I like to hear the sounds of the outside, the smell of the air. And I just like to have closed doors and open windows. And my wife is the exact opposite. What does it mean? I don't know. I don't really care. Is one way better than another? No. My wife and I love each other. We've come to an agreement how we're going to treat our windows and doors, and everything is good. But that's just an example about how particular we can be, and how particular even little things can either make us feel more comfortable or less comfortable. All right, so now where does this leave us? Well, I'm not advocating that you somehow drop off, tell your boss to take their job and shove it and, try to start a new life. No, nothing like that. But going forward now, think about yourself as if you're moving through life. You're navigating through this 4-dimensional space of possibility. And when you have to make a decision, take into account what will sustain me, will help me flourish, versus what will drain me and probably contribute to my stress and maybe eventual burnout. If you are stressed and even getting burnt out, it's not because there's anything wrong with you. There's just a misalignment between you and then the path that you're on in life. So certainly, are there things you want to change about yourself? Perhaps. I mean, I work on myself. I try to be more organized. I try to be more resilient, to get along better with people. So certainly, I think, kind of making changes in one's own life is good on oneself. But, in the way that I've navigated through life, more dramatically, it's how I've changed my environment. And I really spend much of my day in ways that are very just meaningful to me and enriching to me. And so as you go forward, always when you're making any decision, large or small, be thinking about what path that you will take. Because again, no one will choose the path for you. It's open to you. So please, whatever it is, choose your path of flourishing. Signing off, it's Dr. Jack. Thanks so much for listening.